Having a business strategy is very essential for the success of your online Amazon arbitrage business. Now, one of the basic strategies you need to establish is what kind of deal you should be looking for. Is it fast selling or slow selling? Now, in this video today, I'm going to share with you what is a fast selling and what are slow selling deals and what strategies are needed for each deal. So stay tuned. Right, if you don't know who I am, my name is Thomas Parkinson. I've been selling on Amazon now for 4 years doing the online arbitrage business model. Right now, we've done over 7 figures in the last 12 months in the UK, and we've also started in the USA. In the near future, what I want to be doing is expanding into another marketplace as well to continue the growth of this business model. Now, if you want to follow me and interested about how I did it and what I'm learning, then do make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. I'm just going to notify you every time I release a new video. Okay, so chapter 1, what is an online arbitrage deal? An online arbitrage deal, an online arbitrage lead is, should we say, a product you can buy online, you can buy low, buy cheap to resell high on Amazon for a profit. Now, always remember that every deal you're going to find online has their own corresponding ASIN. Well, most products they have if they're new or obviously they're in demand. This means if you're looking, should we say, for a Lego toy online, then this Lego toy has its own ASIN, which is like the Amazon barcode on Amazon. When looking for deals, you say online, always remember that you should be making sure that you are making a profit from these deals that you found, and that is a fundamental. Now, there are lots of ways to know if a deal is profitable or not, and you can use sourcing tools like FBA Multi-Tool, ASIN Zen, SAS, but the most important thing you need to use is Keeper, understanding that Keeper graph. This is a tool which provides you with the sales history, i.e. the pricing and all the other information about a product over time based on, should we say, the Amazon sales rank and also like the buy box price over time, which is going to help you understand what's happened in the past. And if you know that, then you know what's going to happen in the future. Now, Keeper is super important, should we say, for when looking for deals or Keeper-like graphs, and a lot of the tools already have them built in. And this is because they really help you understand more about what is going on with a product over time, and again, really being able to predict the future. Now, if you want to know more about Keeper and learning how to read the graphs and what to do, then what I will do is I'll drop a playlist to a video, or should I say a playlist of videos I created up here called How to Use Keeper. Trust me, check that out. I think you're going to love it. Okay, so today we're talking about fast selling items, slow selling items. What I want to know is, what kind of model do you use? Are you looking for fast selling items or slow selling, or do you do a blended approach? Let me know in the comments down below, or perhaps maybe you're looking to transition, hence why you're watching this video today. Let me know in the comments down below, fast or slow. Okay, so that leads me nicely on to chapter number 2. What are the 2 kind of deals that you can really think about? Now, should we say, before I share with you what the 2 types of deals are, you should know if you are looking to be, should we say, a fast selling, high turnover Amazon seller, or should we say a slower selling Amazon seller. And by knowing this is going to allow you to understand what types of deals that you want and what you should be looking for, whether it's fast selling or slow selling. Okay, so first things first, number 1 you're going to consider about is sales velocity. Now look, sales velocity is quite simply how quick a listing is selling. You're going to have, should we say, fast selling items, slow selling items. Now let's just talk about fast selling items. For us in our business, we generally talk about a listing which is fast selling. It's going to be like 50 sales per month. Now, how do you identify that? Well, you look at the Keeper chart and you can pretty much see either lots and lots of movement, or it's pretty much flatlined along the bottom close to 1, sales rank 1, and that shows you it's selling fast. So anything above about 50 sales a month we're pretty happy with. For us, that would be a faster selling item. A slow selling item, or slow sales velocity, for us generally we talk about anything below 10 sales a month. You're going to see, and how do you spot that? Well, on the Keeper chart, you're going to see those arching effects on that green line in the sales rank. They're just going to slowly kind of go up, 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 drop. And that's like a sale drop, up, drop. That means a sale. Not necessarily, at least one sale we estimate, and it's not perfect. But now quite simply, you've got items with a fast sales velocity and items with a slow sales velocity, and that's the listing itself. That's something to really consider when you're looking at the products, but it isn't as simple as that. And I'll move on to the next bit and explain kind of why. So the next thing which I'll talk about is, should we say, what's known as your turnover rate. Your turnover rate, and in Amazon Seller Central, they have it if you go to Seller Central inventory, and then it's like days in supply, rate and it will have number of turns. So that number of turns rate is how quick you're turning your stock within a year. Now, a typical example might be that you're trying to look for, like, should we say 10? That means in a year, you're gonna be able to turn your stock 10 times. It takes about, should we say 1.2 months, 12 months divided by 10, 1.2. So that's your turnover rate. It's not to say that you should have one turnover rate over the other, just be aware of it. Faster your turnover rate means the faster you're turning that stock you've just purchased into cash, i.e. sales, and then obviously getting it back out again. But the thing which I'll explain is the fact that you can have a high turnover rate with slow selling items. How do you do that? Well, what you do is you have a low volume of stock in the warehouse, i.e. you're only going to hold a maximum of, let's call it 1 month's worth of stock, maybe 1 or 2 of each item. For slower selling items, slower velocity of sales, you'd probably go wide, not deep, and maintain that turnover rate. Now with faster selling items, you might go a lot deeper, but because the products, the listings have a much higher velocity of sales, you're still going to maintain a good turnover rate. Now, there are another thing to throw out there, which is going to really confuse you, is, people talk about having a turnover or turns roughly about the 10 if you're doing 10 per year, or it says 10 if you're doing wholesale. I think right now we track about 17, don't quote me. But the idea is to say that what you can do is actually you can have a really slow turnover rate, call it like 3, but what you are doing is holding products for the long term, waiting for that price to rise, and obviously then selling. So that means you're holding the products for like 4 months before you sell it. And that's a very slow turnover rate. So there is a balance between velocity of sales and turnover rate. And obviously managing that is going to help you understand what kind of model you're doing. And you might be looking for fast selling deals and holding them, or slow selling deals and selling them fast. It gets a bit confusing. The third thing you want to be considering is about the bestseller rank. Now, another difference between, should we say, fast selling items and slow selling items on Amazon is the BSR. And we kind of talked about it before in the previous one. Again, the bestseller rank. Now, the bestseller rank is the rank of an item which is based on its sales. So how many it's selling. So like number 1 would be the best selling item within that category. Not the whole of Amazon, but just that category. Obviously, the closer it is to 1, the better it is. And the closer it's been to 1 over time, the faster it's selling consistently. So just be mindful of that when reading the keeper chart. Now, what we can't do is directly convert, should we say, BSR into sales. Amazon doesn't release this BSR equals this number of sales. They don't let us know, but we can estimate. So for you, what does this mean? Well, quite simply, if you're looking at like fast selling items, then usually, should we say, anything under about 20,000, maybe 30,000 is going to be, should we say, on the faster side, and anything over 100K is going to be on the much slower side of the sales. The last thing which I'm going to talk about is a little bit off-piste from the product itself, but it does kind of factor in. So let me just give you a little bit of background. Number 1, why do you look at fast selling, slow selling items? Well, quite simply because you're probably looking to take your money, buy stock, ship it into Amazon, get it sold, and then convert that back into cash to repeat that process. And if you want to cycle that money quicker, going for fast selling items, generally, not always, can be better. But if you're looking to, should we say, maybe maximize profitability, then you might go for some slower selling items, hold it in Amazon's warehouses for a bit longer, and as a result, try and maximize profits. Now, the one thing to consider is that once you've sold that item, whether it be fast or slow selling, is not just, should we say, how long it gets to the customer, but also as well how quick Amazon release that money. So what you are looking at is the shipment options. So generally speaking, you have 2 main options in Amazon. One of them is going to be FBA, where i.e. they come from Amazon's warehouses into the customer, get shipped to the customer by Amazon themselves. Or the other one is merchant fulfilled, which can be standard merchant fulfilled or seller fulfilled prime. Now, quite simply, what you are looking at is the quicker that product gets to the customer, the quicker Amazon start the 2-week process to release your funds. So if you are maybe shipping a product through merchant fulfilled and you're doing it through like slow shipping process, maybe it takes a couple of days, maybe a week, then that is obviously going to mean you are now adding an extra week onto your time before that money gets released from the sale into the 14-day disbursement from Amazon. Now, Amazon holds all the money for 14 days before it releases it you to the bank. But if you're doing, should we say, for example, FBA, then pretty much that's going to be next day delivery or 2-day delivery. That's going to be delivered. The moment it's delivered, then that money moves into the 14-day holding pen before it gets released. So just be mindful of the fact that not only why we're looking at fast selling items, slow selling items, also consider the fact that the shipment options or how you do the deliver it to the customer, that's also going to affect the speed at which you can cycle that money through your Amazon business. Now, the one thing which I would say is that, there are a lot of fast selling and slow selling items on Amazon. And for you is just really define what you're trying to do. You can buy a mix, you can do a blended approach, you can move to more fast selling, you can move more slow selling. It's absolutely up for you. But the one thing that I'd really say is you can't score if you don't have a goal. And quite simply, defining what your goal is in Amazon, i.e. what your strategy is going to be super important. Just making sure that you are buying the right products. For us, those slow selling items right now, they just don't work in my business personally, and as a result, we don't do them. We do the fast selling items. And in the next chapter, I'll explain kind of why you might want to do that or why you might not. So stay tuned. Okay, so today we're talking about fast selling items, slow selling items, or even like a blended approach. And I'm trying to give you a bit of a background, like why you might want to do it and the pros and cons behind each. Now, quite simply, if you are thinking about starting on Amazon or even selling already, and maybe you're struggling to find fast or slow selling items to buy low to resell on Amazon for a profit, what I'd say is look no further than FastTrackFBA Leads. This is a service I created whereby we have a team of VAs, a team of sourcers sourcing USA, and a separate team in the UK, and they are sourcing 7 days a week looking for all those deals. What do? We put them onto our web platform. You can scroll through them all, looking at those keeper charts, looking for those fast selling items, or maybe slow selling if that's the way you're going. And then once you have found the deals that you like, you buy tokens and exchange those tokens to unlock the deal, and also getting access to the supplier and the Amazon ASIN. Any problems at all, what you can do is quite simply is just get a refund within seconds. It's a super simple, super amazing process. I think you'll absolutely love it, and it's game changing because you get to pick and choose the deals you want. You don't get given anything that you don't want. So check it out, have a look down the link below, FastTrackFBA/leads. Right, that leads me nicely onto chapter number 3. Now, what I'll try and do is just share with you some top tips that are going to help you out, maybe looking at the different types and just kind of keep you on track. Okay, so first things first, top tip number 1. What I'd really recommend is all of this is about understanding sales velocity. And while I've been studying on Amazon for 4 years, I still don't know it 100%. I still use calculators, I still use tools to interpret the data and to help make informed decisions. So what am I saying? I'm saying get a calculator. Now, I talked about it before, like ASIN Zen, SAS, BuyBot Pro, FBA Multi-Tool. There are a range of calculating tools out there you can use that are going to help you not only do the profitability calculations, but also understanding the sales or sales velocity of a product. Now for you, that is super important because obviously that's going to tell you if it's a fast selling or a slow selling item. So top tip number 1, get a tool. Now top tip number 2 leads quite nicely onto that. Now the one thing you need to consider is that you are not the only seller on a listing. So if you see a listing or a product that you want to sell whereby it has really good sales velocity, just take into consideration the competition. Now the reason why I say this is, let's say for example, we found a product with 10 sales per month, keeping it simple. And you might be like, wow, 10 sales per month, I can make 10 sales. Well, that's not true. The listing itself makes 10 sales per month, but there might be 5 other competitors on that listing. Should we say 4 actually, let's call it 4, add you in, that makes 5. Well, what happens? Well, if everything else is fair, then those 10 listing sales are going to be shared amongst those 4 plus you, that makes 5. That means every month, you're only going to make 2 sales, not 10. And that's something to consider. So even if you find a fast selling item or even slow selling item, this isn't just about the item itself. This is about the item itself divided by the competition on the sale. So top tip number 2, don't just look at the listing sales, also consider the competition as well. Now, my top tip number 3 is kind of moving on from that as well, is when looking at the competition, for me personally, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to look at roughly the listing sales per month, and I do this in my deal analysis. I'm going to look at the competition on or around the buy box. If someone's way off the buy box, maybe they're merchant fulfilled, I'm not really interested in them, I won't take them into consideration. But what I will do is only really consider those people on or around the price that I'm looking to sell it at. And then what I will also consider is their stock levels. If their stock is quite low relative to the listing sales, then I think they'll clear out and I might not consider them, or I might say, they're not going to be a big problem. But if I see lots and lots of stock on that listing with some people around the price, my God, I know they are going to get competitive, and that means that they're probably going to price down, and as a result, I'm probably going to be selling less items. So don't just consider the listing sales, don't just consider the people on the listing itself, but do consider those around the buy box and their stock levels as well. And again, those tools are going to really help you out. Okay, so top tip number 4, and I think I'm getting that right, is quite simply is which one is better to do. There is no answer. You can do fast selling items, you can do slow selling items, you can do a blend. Now, quite simply, what are you looking to do? Well, my top tip for you is whether you do fast or slow selling items, if you've got lots of cash, you might want to slow down your velocity of sales and try and maximize your profitability. If you're running out of cash, then what you might want to do is speed up your velocity of sales or your turnover, a number of turns, and as a result, maybe go for faster selling items. Why? Because at the end of the day, we want to convert all this cash into sales. So that's my kind of top tip there. It's not perfect, but generally speaking, you should probably try and take all this cash you have, convert it into sales. That is what you're looking to do. Now, what I will say is that knowing if you're selling fast selling items or slow selling items is just part of the process of the strategy and defining that and selling on Amazon. Now, the one thing which I'll say is this is what are we doing? We're buying low, reselling high on Amazon. And interesting enough, a lot about the work that we do is about strategy, getting that right and doing that, implementing that strategy. Now, the one thing which I really do in my business is I always look for efficiencies, trying to drive efficiencies. And if you want to know how I drove efficiency within my purchasing workflow, then what I'll do is I'll drop a link around here to my process about how I purchase products on Amazon. And it's a real step-by-step guide, which is the most efficient process we found to save time. So check that out. Now, what I will say is hopefully you've liked this video. If you have, give me a big thumbs up. And hey, if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button down below. That's really going to help you out. But for me, Thomas Parkinson and FastTrackFBA, thank you very much.